Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Same Old Arsenal. I'm your host, Dan Potts. We are doing another Potts preview and it is going to be for the Chelsea-Arsenal fixture, which is on a Tuesday night at 8:15 for some bizarre reason. We're not going to talk too much about yesterday's result. We'll leave that to tomorrow evening with the Same Old Arsenal crew. But we are going to be talking about Chelsea and Arsenal. Joining me again is the Chelsea fan who was on last time, Matt Delebriere. Matt, how are you, mate?
He streams on his own. Yeah, I'm good, mate. How you doing? All right?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. We won't talk too much about your result yesterday either, no?
I don't mind, mate. It's one of them things, isn't it? But yeah, we'll have a little chat about that later.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Thanks for coming back on, though, buddy. Top man.
Pleasure.
Joining me for, it was probably happy with last preview because it was a Northerner that we had on, is a Northerner, Scunny Mike. Scunny, how are you, mate?
Hi, mate. Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. Have you just woke up, mate?
Pretty much. No.
Yeah.
No, I've been sorting some stuff out. I've been bloody... Oh, God. I had to change my internet, so I'm sorting out every bloody Wi-Fi password on everything, so that's nice.
Oh, mate, bless you. Thanks for coming and joining us, though, buddy. Top man.
No worries, mate.
And joining me as ever, Mr. Lee Judges. Lee, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good man. Boys, let's bring you all in. We are, believe it or not, talking about Arsenal-Chelsea again when it only seems like we played each other, which must have been a couple of weeks ago now. Matt, we'll start with you, mate, because Chelsea are about as inconsistent as Arsenal at the moment. So what did you make of the actual first fixture, mate, at the Emirates?
It's definitely... I remember texting you after the game saying that it's a game of two halves, really. Our team has just... It's got that naivety to it, you know, young team, and that's what I put it down to, really. I don't even know if the team's got the ability to shut up shop if we was winning, but they certainly showed something different that they haven't showed in the season, and that was to be able to come back from 1-0 down, you know. I think all season I don't think we'd come back and won a game from going 1-0 down. But certainly first half we was completely outplayed by you boys. You played well. And there certainly needed to be sort of some changes. I didn't expect us to win it after sort of the first half. I thought we might be able to nick one, but I thought we'd probably concede again. We got gifted a goal, and that just sort of sparked us into life, it seemed. And after that, we sort of rampaged, and I believed for the last 10 minutes that we could get something out of it, and it happened, you know.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Lee, that was the first kind of game that, well, it was actually Arteta's first home game. It was, in my opinion, the first time that we saw a different Arsenal side. It was the first time that we saw an Arsenal side that wanted to kind of press and be better off the ball. And since then, there's been a couple of games where we seem to have gone back to old ways like yesterday. What do you think's happening with this side at the moment? It just seems there's a lack of confidence, Lee.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that is a shame, really. Like, I can't believe we have got a lack of confidence, professional footballers, but it does seem to be that way. I think that you know, one problem we've got at the moment is we're not fit enough to do the pressing game that what Arteta's showing, because again yesterday faded dramatically in the game. There, I felt that he made some changes, but you know, going back to the Chelsea game, I thought we played really well for up until they scored, to be fair. Once Chelsea scored that day, there was only going to be one winner, you know, and they rolled us in the last 10 minutes. It was frustrating. But we got another bite at the cherry against them. As Matt says, you never know what you're going to get with Chelsea because of the youngsters at the moment. You know, they can turn it on and not. They're not the force that they were over the last few seasons, because they've gone to this youngsters side of things and that, like, you know, but potentially they're always going to can cause problems, and they've done it against us. It would be nice if Arsenal could go there and be under the cosh and then end up winning the game. Like it doesn't seem to be like that for us, you know. We have to be in control like we was yesterday, and we just can't see out games. So I think, for me personally, the game on Tuesday, I think the first goal is going to be really, really important. Whoever gets it, if we get it, you know, we've got something to fight for. If they get it, I can't see us getting past them if they score first. But you know, unfortunately, you know, I think Aubameyang's going to be a major loss for us in this game. You know, yesterday Lacazette, you know, just doesn't seem to be doing the business, and You know, he was poor yesterday. He's even worse when he plays away from home. So,
I
you
know.
know, like, I really don't know what they're going to do there. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe he could be actually left out of this game, but you know, I don't think that he can be. But it is a bit of a worry for us, really. I feel, and you know, I don't know. Like, you know, like after yesterday, if we'd have won yesterday, I'd have felt you know, I felt a lot confident. If we'd have gone to beat Sheffield United, I felt we might have had a chance against Chelsea. But I think that, you know, all the habits and all the sort of things that I've been watching since the beginning of the season, we're all there yesterday. Defensive frailties, everything that you don't want, not really creating nothing. Mesut Ozil back to his usual self. I call him the wanderer now because that's all he does. He just wanders around doing nothing.
I've got to let Scunny Mike go on to that in a minute because I know that he's one of his favourite players. But just before I do that, I don't want to bring politics into it, Lee. But if Boris was to step down, mate, then you get Richard's vote.
Look at that! I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Happy with that, Scunny. Before we do go on to talk about Mesut Ozil and Lacazette, I want to try and talk about a positive first because Matt and Lee both mentioned it, and that's young players, and that's not just Chelsea's, that's Arsenal's. I thought yesterday, talking to some positives, you've got to big it up for our fullbacks at the moment in Saka and Ainsley Maitland-Niles because they're both playing out of position. They're supposed to be playing as kind of wingers, but they're now playing either wing back or fullback. What do you make of some of the young players coming through at Arsenal, not just at Chelsea, Scunny?
Well, we've only got. Can you call Maitland-Niles one of our youngsters now? He's been around for a while. He hasn't really got much in the way of game time, but it's the way I think he could do now. What he could pull off is a Lauren in my eyes, because Lauren wasn't a right back; he was a right mid. So he could pull off that sort of style, and he's doing really well. He seems to have stepped up so far under Arteta. When he's been playing there before under Wenger and under Emery, he didn't really show much. But I don't know, maybe he's had a kick up the arse or something from Arteta, and it seems to have shown. And Saka, I know with him, he's definitely something else at the minute. I'm really, really impressed with him. The way he can just move on anywhere on that left-hand side. He's showing that he wants to play. He wants to get in the team. He doesn't care where he goes. He wants to play. And that's how it should be, I think, for any youngster who's trying to push their way through. And we all know about our defensive frailties, and we all know about frailties in the rest of the squad in certain areas. Now, if a youngster's showing up most of these people, then that says something there. And I think Saka and Martinelli yesterday showed up majority of our team, and they're both only 18 years old.
It is scary when you have to rely on an 18-year-old to score your goals when Aubameyang's out and two fullbacks that have to be your better players. I must say, though, I thought Torreira was outstanding again yesterday, breaking up, playing the middle there. It's just his position where he needs to be. It's just unfortunate we're looking at these senior players. Scunny, I'm going to keep with you about the senior players because Ozil and Laka, me and you have had quite a chat about it with other people in our group about the kind of... it looks to me like they've just down tools, and Lacazette just doesn't seem to be able to do anything right. But Mesut Ozil, for me, he's just gone back to his old ways, hasn't he?
Well, I said it before, and when he started playing, I think it was the Manchester United game, I noticed he was playing out of his skin. The last time we played Chelsea, he was, again, for 35 minutes, he was probably the better player on the pitch. As soon as Chelsea brought on Jorginho, Lampard saw what the issue was, stuck Jorginho on, mark that man, he's gone. He don't do anything, you see. The problem is or what I keep hearing is people need to get the ball into Ozil. You need to create the space for Ozil. Why can't Ozil create his own space? This guy is meant to be the best creative player ever, or according to some people, not myself personally. But I just can't understand why he can't create his own space. Why can't he come to the ball? Why can't he, show his worth a bit more? That's the thing that bothers me with Ozil, and he just does what, like Lee said, he does the wanderer, but I call him the invisible man because he just goes missing. So I just don't understand. I just don't understand why we have to, or other players have to do things for Ozil. Why can't Ozil just do things for himself? Why can't he? Why he just prove your worth? At the end of the day, he's been around a long time. He's 30, what is he, 30, 31 years old? He should know how the game works by now. It doesn't matter where. At the end of the day, he's come from Real Madrid to Arsenal. He should know, really, that Arsenal weren't the team that Real Madrid are with, with the buying power that Real Madrid have. So he's got to work a bit harder for that ball, but he hasn't really shown it. I think he's shown it when 2 seasons when we first got him and maybe 2-3 games a season. It's not good enough. And when we were saying about Lacazette, I think, sorry, mate, when we were talking about Lacazette as well, is he works hard. He does try his best, but I just don't think his best is pulling it off for him. It's just... You seem to find him, especially in the yesterday's game. I think you found him. He was more in our half than he were. He's more in our half trying to pick up the ball than he is trying to receive the ball off players. And I think when you're a striker or you're a lone striker, I think that's really tough thing to do. And you're not really going to get towards goal or anything like that with that. And you need to push further up forward. You need an outlet if you're a striker on your own up top. You do need an outlet, and there's just no outlet if he's pushing back.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Before I come back to Matt, Lee, I've got to ask you: we've got literally a couple of games within a few days, so it may be that we have to rotate. Is it time for Ozil and Laka to take a stint on the bench and see if we can bring, I don't know, a couple of youngsters through?
Well, I'm not so sure in this game. I think Lacazette is the best option up front, and so you've got to go with it, But certainly when Aubameyang's fit, if he leaves out Martinelli for him, I'll be furious. You know what I mean? Arteta, has got a free ride this season, but if he continues to keep playing Ozil, he's going to be like the rest of them. He's going to end up like, I get that there is. I watched him quite a lot yesterday. I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch him, and he drops into some areas, and in his defence, right? In his defence, we haven't got players good enough to get the ball through the lines to him. Like there was times yesterday then he was in good areas of space, but the centre halves look at it and they don't want to take that little gamble and put the ball through there. Like, so that's the one thing. But then, as Mike says, he then doesn't go looking for the ball and getting on the ball, and then dropping a shoulder, beating a player. He just, he's happy to just waddle around. If he's not getting the ball, then he's happy. He might do. Someone said yesterday, "Oh yeah, but he works hard." Well, you know what I mean. So he should. You know what I mean? Like it's. But we know, and I keep getting this thing, and it's starting to get me now. When he weren't in the side, we lack creativity. We got to get someone in that can create. Well, I didn't see no creativity yesterday. I haven't seen no creativity in the games. And then when you're going to Chelsea away from home, the logistics of it are they're going to have more of the ball than us. So don't play a player that when we've not got the ball, he's the weakest person in the team. So for me, you've got to bring in Ceballos or Willock for him. And yes, you've got a reaction out of him for a couple of games, but it's the same as anything in football. When a new manager comes in, whatever team it is, you get a certain reaction for a couple of games or whatever, and then it goes back to normal. And the one person that's really gone back to normal is Ozil. He was poor against Palace. I don't think he deserved to play after this game. Well, he certainly doesn't deserve to play now. Two poor games in a row. Yes, players like David Luiz. Yes, the 2 fullbacks yesterday have stepped up. Yes, Xhaka has stepped up. You know what I mean? Everybody seems to have stepped up a little bit, apart from him. And until this gets resolved, we are going to really be struggling. You know what I mean? I thought at times yesterday we were playing with 10 men. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're playing a setup, which is really still what you're doing with Xhaka and Torreira there, when he gets the ball, he just plays it 5 yards, boys. He doesn't, you know what I mean? Like he hasn't. It's not like he's like a De Bruyne or somebody else like that's doing it there. For me now, I think Ceballos has got to come in. And by the way, he's got to step up as well because he's not been that great. But he has got to step up. Otherwise, he can go back to Real Madrid. But I just feel that it's time now for a new look at it there. And I know what Arteta's trying to do, but he hasn't got the players to do it. And Mesut Ozil, I'm sorry, is not going to be cutting it. He's not cutting it. And if you're not cutting, don't give a monkeys who you are. If you're not cutting it, you can't be expected to play in the team. And when you go to teams like Chelsea, let's face it, they're not been great at home, by the way, Chelsea. They've been found out by organised teams that defend properly. Like, you know, Bournemouth's last win was against Chelsea. You know what I mean? Like, I think Chelsea have got something from them. Southampton have got something from them. So there are vulnerabilities in this Chelsea side, and we have got players that can get that, but we've got to defend properly, and that means having a proper structured defence and midfield. And I'm afraid that Ozil doesn't fit in it too much, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to see him no more. I'm going to be honest. I've had it. I've had it.
A lot of people in the chat are agreeing with you, saying about replacing him with Maddison and Grealish. I think that's quite wishful thinking and quite optimistic. Yeah. I think we'll be stuck with him, if I'm honest with you, due to his wages for another season, and then I think he'll leave when his contract's up. Matt, coming to you, mate. You have been fairly inconsistent of late, to be fair, Chelsea. You don't really know what it's going to be like. What do you put that down to? What has that kind of been? Is that because the youngsters are still learning and a bit naive, or is it just anyone in particular that's kind of pinpointed to that, do you think?
I don't think it's anyone in particular. There don't seem to be any pattern in it. Last 5 home games, just to give you guys hopefully
some positives.
Positive is we've won 2. And we've lost 3. So there's no draws there. The 3 losses, like Lee says, Bournemouth, West Ham and Southampton. You know, not great teams. And then we picked up points against Burnley, randomly beat them 3-0, which I didn't... You know, I'd never put Chelsea on my accumulator on a weekend because you just don't know what's going to happen. And then we beat a mediocre Forest in the Cup 2-0, you know, and they just didn't even turn up for us, you know. So I don't know what it is. I wish I did know the answer. We certainly need someone who, you know, Tammy Abraham, I really rate him, but we certainly need someone who's, I think Ian Wright said last night, they're missing that, you know, that man up top, the key man up top, because they just don't have that in Tammy. He's young still, you know, and I think he's going to be brilliant. You know, he showed signs of holding up the ball really well. He can put the ball in the net with any part of his body, you know, but we're certainly missing that key man up top. We're going to talk a bit later about transfers and a few things with a few people I think Chelsea are looking at, but I just think it's just a team. It's not the same team every week. You know, I'm used to seeing Chelsea play this. Whenever we've had success, it's been the same 11 really. Like the opposition team know who's playing, they know where they're playing and what they're doing. I don't know what he's going to put out, and every I'm sitting there refreshing the Chelsea Twitter page before kickoff, waiting for the team to come out, thinking, what's it going to be? And then we'll have a chat about, oh, why has he done that? You know, so I'm not saying Lampard's doing anything wrong because I love him at the club, and you know he's exceeding expectations from myself and the fans at the moment. But it's just like we use the word frustrated on this stream so much already, but it is frustrating, you know. And yesterday is a typical example of it. You know, play a game, dominate a game, and lose it. And my mate texted me at half time and said, look, it's one of them games. You know, put your mortgage on Chelsea losing 1-0. I texted my old man about 5 minutes before the goal went in and said, watch us concede, you know, because I could see it happening. Chelsea fans could see it happening because we've seen it too many times already this season. And it's just one of them things, really. Just got to chalk it off and hope that we turn up the next one. But we don't know what's going to turn up as much as you guys, you know.
Yeah, no, we know how that feels, trust me. Over that period of time in the last few games, though, Matt, who's looked good for you that's been your most consistent player that Arsenal should worry about?
Definitely Reece James. He's up this.
I'm glad you brought him up because I think he's going to be quality. I really like this lad. I think he's going to be excellent.
You know, when I looked at him yesterday, it sounds stupid, and I know he's not. He's a completely different league, but he just controlled the defence and the game like Van Dijk does for Liverpool. You know, he's not as good, nowhere near as good. You know, no one is in that position, but he showed sort of signs of that, and that's what we need. You know, we've got Rudiger, good defender, but extremely injury prone, and then in the middle we play Christensen or Zuma, who are just inconsistent. You know, really inconsistent, and they're usually on the bad side of that inconsistency. You know, sometimes they'll have a good game, and that's more of a surprise than anything. So we're certainly screaming out for some help there. But Reece James has just played blinded. You know, I think he was top-rated player out of the whole team yesterday. He has been for weeks now. You know, when he makes a mistake, his head don't go down. He just cracks on, and then he'll make chance. You know, he gets up and down that wing. He's all over the place. So he's just what we needed, really. And you know, another youngster who's been highlighted, brought into the team, and people, the Chelsea fans who don't sort of look at the history of Chelsea or look at like the what's going on in the background and what's going on with the youth, sort of seeing him now and thinking, no, this guy's really decent, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I saw him in an England under-20s game at Hull United, actually, and I didn't know who he was. And I looked at him, and he was on loan at Wigan last season, weren't he? And he was apparently absolutely superb there. And he's come in and he's been given his chance, and I think he looks top draw and one for the future. It's just a shame that Trent Alexander-Arnold's so good, isn't it? Because I don't think he's going to get the shout for England along with Wan-Bissaka. You know, sometimes that happens, doesn't it? And that just kind of prevents them from progressing. Lastly, Matt, you must be really happy, unlike we are, that Aubameyang's out on Tuesday night, because he's the one that seems to score our goals. Is there anyone else you think that can, you know, cause you issues on Tuesday that now that he's out?
Yeah, well, last stream I said who would I be worried about, and that was Aubameyang, and he played well with the game. And yeah, when he got sent off the other day, it did cross my mind that he's going to miss the Chelsea game. So you've got to be happy about that if you're a Chelsea fan, because he is dangerous. I still think, I mean, David Luiz played well in the last game, and I said that he would be one to look out for as well against his old team. And I still worry about him if he's going to play tomorrow, which I assume he probably will. I know you guys can tell me different if not, but he's still got a good game in him. He plays well against us. He showed it the other day. He ain't scared to go in a head height with a boot at, you know, at Kante. But there we go. So yeah, I would it'd be David Luiz for me. Keep an eye on again. Is it Torreira? I don't want to say his name wrong, but he looks a bit class as well, you know. So I've been keeping an eye on him, and I've seen him sort of breaking into the team now and playing well.
Yeah, well, now he's playing his position. I think he's starting to play well now, because he was playing he was basically doing what Sarri did with Kante last year. Emery was doing that with Torreira, and it was just getting Arsenal fans frustrated, like it was you boys. So do you fancy? What do you fancy? Do you fancy your chances on Tuesday against us, the way we're playing, or do you just really not sure at the moment?
My prediction is a reverse of the last score, and that's, I think you'll win 2-1. I think you'll have a bit to prove. I think you'll want it more than us. I think you need it more than us. Not that I want to throw away any points. I'm still disappointed about yesterday throwing away points. You know, I was disappointed if we had a draw out of it, but I think you need it more than us. And I don't think no one's going to trounce each other like 3 or 4-0. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that if anything, you'll take the points. You'll take all 3.
Mate, this is nice. This is nice to hear. This is really nice to hear. I can't say that I agree with you, but it's nice to hear.
Don't get me wrong. I'd never bet against my team, but I'm a realist. You know, I could sit here and go, yeah, we're gonna smash you 4-0. Yeah, we're the best thing since sliced bread. But I'm a realist. You know, that's what I genuinely predict.
Fair enough, mate. Scunny, how optimistic are you going in Tuesday night, mate? You're going to the game, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not optimistic at all. I'm not as optimistic as Matt. Let's just say that. I'm hoping. I hope we do win. Don't get me wrong. It's Arsenal at the end of the day. It's Arsenal v Chelsea. It's a London derby. So yeah, I'm hoping we do win. But I can see it being more of a score draw than a win. I think both teams are in some respects as bad as each other in a lot of things. So, but sometimes I just think as well. I think with Aubameyang being out, I think Chelsea have got a bit more of that. Bit more firepower than us at the moment, so that's the only issue that I've got.
What did you say your prediction was? Sorry, you go for a score draw.
I'm going to go for a score draw, so I'm going to stay 2-2.
Okay, judges, what are you going for on Tuesday, mate? What are you expecting to see?
Well, like, you know, I agree with what Matt said there. I think David Luiz has been a revelation since Arteta came. He's played really, really well, and he's been one of the highlights for us. So I think going back to Chelsea, he's going to try and want to prove something. I thought he was superb against Chelsea in the home game, by the way. So you know, it's nice when a Chelsea fan turns around and says that we might win this game. But for me, like, you know, I can't see it. You know, I think the best we could get out of it is a draw. I think with Chelsea at the moment, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would be, you know, excited about what's going to happen over the next few years, because I think they've got some really talented youngsters like us. They've got talented youngsters, but you know, come the summer, they're going to buy some big players and really kick on, when you know that Arsenal are not going to do that, you know, and it's painful because we have got some good youngsters in this side. Saka yesterday, you know, I've got to ask the question, why are we looking to at left backs when we've got him? You You know what I mean? I think he could be the new Ashley Cole. You know what I mean? I think he was absolutely. I think he's better at coming onto the ball than playing as a wide left player. He's got all the skills to bomb up and down that left hand side. Maitland Niles is looking a real player there. You know, so we've got a couple of really good youngsters coming through. Martinelli is the one for me that is exceptional. Again, yesterday showed his class, 18 years of age. So we've got those players. What they need now is some top experienced players to go alongside them. And that's exactly what Chelsea need as well. But Chelsea will go out in the summer and will get those players. And, you know, what you're going to see is two teams that are very, very similar in where they are at the moment. And you'll see one kick on because of investment and one not. And then people turn around and say, hey, it's not all about money. Well, let's see over the next course of the next couple of years where it's going to go. Yeah. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see. You know, we're having to play Mustafi at the moment. We're trying to get rid of him, but because we've got nobody else, we're having to play him. And we're 18 or 19 days into the transfer window, but we're again not doing nothing. And it's starting to get me down there. It's starting to get me frustrated. We need. Do you know what Arsenal do need more than anything? They need a win against one of the big boys. We got it against Man United at home. We need to go to somewhere like Chelsea. We need to go to somewhere like Man City or Tottenham. You know, later on in the season and get a performance and a result. And if we could get a result against Chelsea, it could kick us on. But unfortunately, I can't really see it being this one there. You know. I think that if we get a draw, I'll be pleased. But again, it's more points dropped because we keep dropping points at home. You know what I mean? This is the problem. So I think if we can get a point out of this one, it'd be good. But I don't see it.
What are you going for then?
I'm going for a Chelsea win 2-0.
Okay, mate. I'm going to go for a Chelsea win as well. I think we're going to lose 2-1. I think that they'll nick it. I just think we've just got two. So it's kind of written in the stars for us at the moment that nothing, even if we play well, nothing's quite going right. There's still only the Man United game where we've got what we deserved out of it. The other games we have either slipped up or not quite got the 3 points that I feel that we deserve. So, yeah, frustrating for me, but I'm going to go for that. Matt, transfer window's open, mate. Who you linked with and who you going to get?
There's a few little whispers about it. I know Lampard's being a bit tight-lipped about it. I see his press conference after the game, and he was sort of saying, if the pen ain't hit the paper yet, it's irrelevant, so I don't want to discuss nothing. But there's obviously the whispers that are going on in the paper. And that. Quickly, I just want to say as well that it's interesting that we talk about the inconsistencies of our team, and there's 4 of us here, and we've all almost come out with different results other than Dan and Leeds, you know, so it just says it all, really. But, yeah, so I see in the paper that Abramovich fancies Sancho. Well, yeah, I fancy a gold Lamborghini as well, you know. But if you ain't going to put your hand in your pocket, you ain't going to get one. So if it's rumoured we've got 150 mil to spend. Are they going to spend it? I don't know. You know, if they do, then they need all of that for one player, and that's Sancho. If he even wanted to come to us, I would imagine that a player of that class, that young, is probably aspiring a bit beyond our team at the moment. But
hell of a player, though, isn't he, Sancho? Hell of a player.
But then I've been saying we need that top man up front. You know, that key man up front, and we are linked quite heavily and apparently favourites to sign Werner from Leipzig. And I think he's
good player.
Playing in the Bundesliga at the moment, 20 goals already. You know, absolute lightning pace. So yeah, it would be great to get a bit of him in the team, and also what you've probably seen because it's been on TalkSport all week, and that's Dunk for was it 48 million? I think I wrote a note of it, 48 million, which I think he's worth 48 million to them, but perhaps a bit overpriced in today's market. I know defenders are they're scarce at the moment, and getting a decent one, you know, and I think he probably single-handedly kept them up last season, but I think it's a bit too much, personally.
Would you have him? Do you like Dunk?
Yeah, I like him as a player. Good old-fashioned Shawcross type like player, you know. I compare him to, you know, ain't afraid to put his head and foot in where he needs to, and bit of stability at the back and hold that line because, You know, when I've watched, you know, we get to see a bit more now with the old VAR. Like when they slow it right down, you can actually see how straight a line you got and how much organisation you got at the back now. And sometimes I look at it, I think it's woeful. You know, there's players like 6-7 yards away from the line, and you know, we used to have Big JT shouting them all, saying "Get."
Yeah.
And back then, you know, it was like VAR lines. You know, they held that line well, but yeah, they're the sort of ones that shine out at the moment. Yeah.
Fair on, mate. Yeah, great player. Listen, I think all three of them would be fantastic signings for Chelsea. I really do. I love Sancho. I think Timo Werner's brilliant.
I'm going to say with Werner, I think you're going to be paying over the odds for him with him being top of the Bundesliga and that. And he's obviously, they're going to be wanting to keep him till the end of the season. So
yeah, at the moment,
we've been linked with Upamecano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I think, you know, that's not going to happen with them being top of the league. They're going to need everyone everyone they can get so far just to try and finish top of their league. So I think anyone from Leipzig, I think, I can't see that happening.
No.
Scotty, what about us then, mate? Because we've got some injuries, haven't we? Jesus Christ, we need some players, don't we? And nothing's happening. The board are just sitting there again.
Well,
so
we've been linked with a crap injury-prone left back from PSG, I believe. So that's going to be nice, isn't it, on a freebie? I just don't understand that one. If he can't get into the PSG side, I think he played for Monaco. He looked okay. Went to PSG, bang average, constantly injury prone, and we're trying to get him on a free. I just don't understand that one. And as for the rest, it's like I think you've mentioned before about Boateng. I just don't see the point. I honestly don't see the point. Yeah, I suppose we could do with the centre back, but is it worth getting another aging player who's, you know, I mean, coming towards the end of his prime to help us out? I just don't think it is. I think we'd rather stick with what we've got. I think, all be odd, I think I'd rather stick with Mustafi, and that says a lot for me.
That's where we are.
Yeah. It's very depressing, isn't it? Lee, does it worry you though, mate, that we're down to bare bones, mate, in some positions and we don't see anything happening? The board aren't telling us what's going on. We're not putting in bids for players. I know we must be doing something behind the scenes, but we're getting towards only a couple of weeks left and nothing's going on, is it?
Listen, when your transfer manager or your top person turns around and says, I don't really like the January transfer window, someone needs to remind them there's only 2 transfer windows, one in the summer and one in January. And if your main man don't like them, what the hell is he doing in the job? Get out and get someone in that likes to deal in January. You know what I mean? But, you know, I can imagine it. You can imagine it on the interview with the Cronkies, like, you know, what do you see about transfers? Well, I don't like the January. Give him the job. Give him the job straight away. Give him the job. Give him the job. He ain't going to spend no money in January. Give him the job. You know what I mean? It is pathetic. It's the worst Arsenal team I have seen for a very, very, very long while, and they fobbed us off when we was 3rd, 4th, 2nd. It's very hard in January to improve on these players. Well, we're 10th now, and they still can't improve on them. Like, you know, at the end of the day, we're playing Mustafi. Nothing against Mustafi. I'm not having a go at him. We're trying to get him out the door, but we're having to play him. What does that tell you? You know,
it says a lot as well, Lee, to be fair. When you say it's the worst Arsenal team we've ever seen, just compare it to some of the Arsenal teams that we've seen over the years. You know, when you had Nicholas Bentner up front, and you've had what's his face, the other guy that we got from France, I can't remember his name.
Sonogo,
Sonogo, Shamak.
Yeah.
You know, we got Benayoun from Chelsea. You know, I mean, they didn't want him anymore, so they passed him over to us, like they do with a lot of their players these days. So, you know, when they say they're coming out of the prime and they don't want them anymore, they pass them to Arsenal. So we get that quite a lot.
And, you know, people turn around and say, like, you know, it's 10, right? We are 10th at the moment in probably the worst league, right? The worst league, or worst Premier League that I've seen for a very, very long while as far as ability is concerned. You know, there's 2 teams that are in it that are quality, and that's Man City and Liverpool. The rest are bang average. It's the worst Spurs team for 5 years. It's the worst Chelsea team for 5 years. It's the worst Arsenal team for 10 years. You know, Leicester, have done well and all that. But, like, you know...
2-1 down.
I just saw that. Just losing 2-1 now.
So you look at the bottom teams. You know, there was never like... It happened now and then teams would win by 5 or 6. But now it's becoming a norm. Teams getting beaten 5 or 6. You know, the defending's not so good. You know, Arsenal have needed a central defender of quality since Sol Campbell came to this club. Now, I don't know how long Sol's not been here. Like, someone enlighten me, like, you know what I mean? But that is
2006 he left, mate.
Yeah.
2006.
Sol Campbell, best January signing. Did we sign him in January?
I
think we did on a free, didn't we? Didn't we re-sign him?
We got him on a free.
We
Definitely the free.
I think we re-signed him again, didn't we? We had a little second spell with us. So.
2008, I think we re-signed him again.
Well, you know what I mean? So
remember him playing well.
You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying, you know, and the board have been watching this for week in all the time, or supposedly, and then not saying to the people in charge of the recruitment, we need to sort this out and sort that out. You know, we need to improve in certain, you know, is there no one better that can do the job of Mesut Ozil? Right, well, you know, go and find it. You know, there's someone said in the chat now, the Ajax player, I can't see his name.
Ziyech.
Go and get him. Go and get him. You know, go to Aston Villa and say to them, look, we want to sign Grealish. Obviously, we're not going to sign him now in January, but we'll have him in. You know, get these deals done. And if they were to sign a central defender, they can't get now. So, you know, but then say, look, we can't get the centre half till next, but we've signed him, so we're going to bring in Boateng to the end of the season. Then I can understand. You know, show us something that you're trying to improve a bang average Arsenal side. You know what I mean?
Like
13 years of the Emirates, and we've got a bang average side. I had an argument with a fella yesterday. Not an argument, discussion. The burger man at the Arsenal, like, you know, he's an Arsene Wenger lover, he is, and all that, like, you know, and great to him and all that, like. Blah, blah, blah. I asked him, I said, tell me how many world-class players in 13 years at the Emirates have Arsenal signed? How many? Right? And my argument is one, and that's Sanchez. And we, 3 years later, let him go for nothing. And swaps him with Mkhitaryan. Great bit of business. Great bit of business. So, of all those years, we left Highbury with 8 world-class players, and in all that time, with all this money being piled into it, we've replaced it with 1 world-class player. You know, and we've bought 1 world-class. It's pathetic. And, you know, and I'm getting frustrated by it because it's just the board are now starting to take the mickey out of us because we've come into January and nothing's being done. And I hear, oh, we might have to do a loan signing here. Why we keep going about loan signs? I look at Man United about to spend 60 million on a player. Tottenham have bought somebody already. All right, it's a loan signing, like, you know. Other teams are dealing and doing with this, and it gets on my goat. Also, you can't buy people in January. Well, look back at the time. Van Dijk went to Southampton from Liverpool in January. The reason he went because they chopped up the money. Right. The reason it's like our board turn around and say, "Oh, we don't want to deal in January because they don't want to get out the old money because it's going to cost." That's why they don't want to deal with it. Oh, it's hard to deal with. It's got nothing to do with it. Aubameyang come to our club in January. Players come in January. I'm not saying they're going to be a success and whatever. You know, Chelsea have bought players in January, but sometimes it just costs you an extra 1 million or 2 million. You know, and that's the difference. And if we're not prepared to buy any players in this window, then that tells you everything about this board. And the argument on the one reason why I never have no time for Arsene Wenger now is because he covered up that board. He allowed him to get all the flack, right? Take all the stick and covered for that board. And for me, that you know, they're the ones they should. If you were like Abramovich when he was at Chelsea, and if I love Arsenal Football Club and I care about Arsenal football, I'll be going into that board now. Who are we getting? Who are we going to get? You know what I mean? Yeah. But they're not. They're you know what I mean? Like, there's no. Oh, I'll be right. January's 1st of January. We go right. Who are we getting to improve this shower of crap? You know what I mean? Like, you know, and this is it. Like, you know. You know, people are saying that, like, you know, Ramsey was a world class, but he was bought for, you know, I'm not having that from somebody there. Petr Cech, world class when he comes to Arsenal. No, all right, you know what I mean? I'm not having that, like, you know what I mean? I'm not having that.
I think you're right. The thing that winds me up even more, though, Lee, is you touch on it, is if I had a leak in my roof, I wouldn't do my kitchen and bathroom up. Yeah. Now, we've had a leak in our defensive midfield and our centre half for about 15 years. right? And we ain't done anything about it. We bought wingers and we bought left backs. We linked with another left back today, that bloke from PSG that Mike's on about. Why are we linked with him when we got holes in our defence? We're sending people out. We're sending Mavropanos out on loan. Holding's not fit. Chambers is out for the season. Now we're having to bring Mustafi in. We've got David Luiz and Socrates, who was again injured yesterday. And we're still not linked with any defenders of any sort that we believe are going to come in and improve the side. So I think it's a great point, I must admit.
How many players does your team need to compete with the likes of Liverpool and City?
11.
22.
Yeah,
No,
I wasn't
11.
going to be too much. I was going to say probably about 8 or 9, if I'm honest with you, Matt. Yeah, I would say that because I don't feel that I think we're that far behind, mate. We really are. I look at try and do combined 11s with Liverpool and Man City. There's not one Arsenal side player that would get into it. Potentially Aubameyang, but then you look at Aguero and even Firmino, who makes that front three work for Liverpool. So I'm looking at that thinking, yeah, maybe we do need 8 or 9. I really do because, you know, I've got nothing wrong with Leno. I've got nothing wrong with the fullbacks when they're out fit, but they never fit. I've got nothing wrong with Torreira. I like Aubameyang and Lacazette, but apart from that, I'm struggling after that to really see any players come through. And they're the youngsters coming through. You know, I like Martinelli, I like Saka, I like Guendouzi. They shouldn't be playing 25 to 30 games a season, but they are.
Well, we rely on an 18-year-old. We are at this moment in time relying on an 18-year-old kid from Brazil. You know that's come in. And that's who we're looking up to. And I'm going to go on to Pepe, like, you know what I mean? I'll give him time to settle and everything like that. This kid is 18 years of age from Brazil, you know, and he's come in and took this club by storm. Why can't a £72 million player do the same? Because I was talking to my mate yesterday and he's going, I said, this is how you got to do it. This is my mind now, right? This is my mind going into football. Pepe is £6 million player. Martinelli is my 72 million player. That's how I don't get frustrated with Pepe at me because, you know, that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we've done fantastically. Whoever done that to get for him for 6 million, you know, tip my hat off to him. That's fantastic bit of business because he is worth 72 million pounds.
They do, isn't it?
Now, yeah. You know, I'll tell you what, if he went on the market now at 18 and we didn't sell him for less than 70 million, I'll be furious. Absolutely furious. You know, and that's where it is. But this excuse of, I'll give him time to bed in and all that, like, this is a kid of 18 years of age and he's smashing it up, wants the ball, working hard and all that, like, you know. I just think he's a breath of fresh air, but that's what we're relying on at the moment. Yeah,
I think you're right, mate. I must admit, I do think you're right. Lastly, boys, this is a bit of fun that I thought we'd do, seeing as it's Arsenal, Chelsea, and it's kind of, well, I say top 6 clubs. I'd like to think that we are still a top 6 club. I've done a combined 11 that I wanted to run through you both for an Arsenal and Chelsea side, and I just wanted to, instead of going through each and every one of you, because that's a whole different show. I thought I'd just ask to see who you'd put in instead. All right, so I've gone in goal first of all, and I have gone for Petr Cech. Just for the pure fact, and not just because he played for Arsenal and for Chelsea, but I just think most clean sheets. Absolute world class in his position at one stage. He was a great player when Arsenal signed him, and I think that he was influential into not just the FA Cups he won with us, but with what Chelsea did under Mourinho. I thought he was fantastic. Would anyone want to put Seaman or Jens Lehmann or anyone else in instead of Petr Cech?
No,
I'd stick in Jens Lehmann.
You love Lehmann, that's why.
Oh, Lehmann was amazing. Sorry, mate, but I think Lehmann was amazing. As much as Petr Cech was amazing at Chelsea, he really was. I thought he was definitely the best goalkeeper in the Premier League in his time during there. As much as people probably say De Gea would have been up there as well, but I honestly think Petr Cech, when he was at Chelsea, was probably the best goalkeeper in the Prem. Since I think Chelsea knew he was on his way out, and that's why they sold him. I think they got a good deal when we bought him for 10 million from there. I felt they did a fantastic deal there because he was on his way out. He wasn't up to his prime. He was getting, he's getting on a bit. So I think was he 32 when it comes to us? No, that's the issue, you see, and I think that's the issue that we've had, because when Jens Lehmann left, we had Almunia and then we had Chesney, so we hadn't really replaced him up until now. So it's taken us that long to even get a decent keeper in Leno. So
fair enough, mate.
I forgot we had Flapianski as well.
I loved Jens Lehmann, but I'm going to have to put Cech in there because it's 3 against 1 Scunny. So it's going to have to be Cech. Right back. Listen, I was a huge fan of Lee Dixon and Lauren, but I have gone for Ivanovic at right back. I thought he was absolute beast. I do actually still like Azpilicueta. I think he's a great fullback as it goes, but I have gone for Ivanovic. Anyone want to make a case for anyone else?
No.
Happy with Ivanovic?
Great
Matty?
Yeah, no, I highly rated him. You know, he gave you a solid performance.
Yeah, I thought he was a great player.
He did well. He should go in there just for not punching Suarez when
he bit him. Yeah. Absolutely. Left back, I hate saying this, but he has to go straight in because he played for both of us and he was best in his position in the world, in my opinion, and that's Ashley Cole. Are we all going to agree on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone for Tony Adams and John Terry at the back. Is there anyone want to put Sol Campbell in?
Tony Adams and Sol Campbell will be my two.
Ahead of John Terry, yeah?
Yeah, John Terry, very, very good, but not as good as Adams. And Sol Campbell would play alongside either of them, and he has done, and successfully for England with John Terry. But Tony Adams, to me, just will beat any central defender, in my opinion.
Scunny?
I agree with Lee.
Fair, mate. What are we going to do
John
there?
Terry's got his own issues.
John Terry's got his own issues. I'll tell you what we'll do then, because it's an Arsenal podcast. We'll leave it at Campbell and Adams.
Thank you. Yeah.
Where's the other Chelsea streamer?
Oh no, where's the other Chelsea? No. Now this is where it does get interesting. I'm definitely going to have some people disagree with me here, particularly Matt. I've gone with a freer midfield, and I've gone with Patrick Vieira, N'Golo Kante, and Frank Lampard. Now, I do have to mention Fabregas, but I can't leave Kante out because I said on the last podcast he is one of my favourite Premier League players ever because I just appreciate what he does and I think he's the best in the world in his position, and I don't think the others were. So I've gone for them three.
No, I'm not having that.
No? Who are you going for, Lee?
I think Frank Lampard's got to come in for his goals, got to be there, without a shadow of a doubt. Vieira gets in any Premier League great side, and I have to say I think Fabregas was magnificent for Arsenal in the time that he was there. And
what about Makelele?
I'd say Makelele, but is he better than Vieira? Not in my opinion. I think Vieira was the beast. It was an absolute beast.
I suppose it depends on what formation you're playing.
Yeah, you know,
Makelele, the position named after him. You know,
but Vieira would just. We don't need Makelele when you got Vieira. You don't need him. Don't need him, and you certainly don't need Conte as well. I play Vieira, Frank Lampard for his goals, and Fabregas because he's played for both as well. It's a no-brainer for me.
Anyone making a case for Kante, or is Fabregas going in?
Sticking Fabregas, mate.
If you talk, I mean, we're looking at this ain't just over the last few years, you know. Kante's still got a bit to prove, in my opinion.
Fair one, mate. I'll happily put Cesc Fabregas in over Kante, and then three up front. This is going to be a real shocker because I have left someone
just had a thought. Actually, sorry, mate. I'm going to interrupt there. What about Michael Ballack?
Michael Ballack. Ballack's to that, mate. Ballack's to that. That's what I was saying.
Sorry, I thought I'd have a laugh.
No, that's all good. But this front three is going to be hard because I've left two players out, which Matt ain't going to be happy with because I can't have a Premier League combined 11 without Dennis Bergkamp in it. So I've gone for Thierry Henry, Didier Drogba and Dennis Bergkamp as the front three. I've left Hazard out. I've left Zola out. It's going to be very hard for Matt, but what do I do?
Well, obviously, you've mentioned them. They've got an honourable mention. Good players. But, you know, when I've been Chelsea fans since the day I was born, but when I used to, when you used to play in the playground and that, and you'd be, what striker are you going to be? And that, you'd still always want to be someone like Henry. So I can't take anything away from Henry. He's a quality player. He even come back to use, like Drogba did with us, come back to use and did it again. You know, so as long as Drogba's in there, I'm happy. And
I'll tell you what, Chelsea got like three forwards that have been fantastic for them over my time. Hasselbank would have to be mentioned. And also Costa. I hated him, but but Drogba was just I'd have to say Henry and Drogba a definite one. Bergkamp to me is the best player that's ever played for Arsenal, so I wouldn't argue with that. I think that on his day Bergkamp was sensational. Zola was a great player, but I just think that for me Bergkamp was slightly better than.
It's hard. It was really hard for me. You know, I left Perez out. I left Hazard out. You know.
Hazard has been a sensational player in the Premier League over the last 5. Somewhere, you know, could we play him instead of Ashley Cole? You know what I mean? Maybe. You know what I mean? But anywhere instead of Ashley Cole.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But no, like, you know, you're talking, you know, fantastic player in Hazard. You know what I mean? It's very hard to leave him out, but you know, I suppose you're going to have to when you look at it.
Yeah, well, it is hard. Peter's got a little bit confused. He's put his 11. He's put Cristiano Ronaldo in it at the end there.
He's having a afternoon beer, isn't he, or something like that? You know what I mean?
He must be.
Get with the programme.
Bit of fun, boys. Bit of fun. I thought it was get your boys' opinions on it because
it's a difficult one, that front three. Someone mentioned, I've just seen in the chat about Crespo as well, which I completely forgot about, and he was a great player. You know, he was really, really well. Don't think he was as good as Drogba. So yeah, I agree with the Drogba
Crespo
one.
Did better in his days not at Chelsea. Really, he did all play right at Chelsea, but he was one of them liabilities a little bit towards the end, like Shevchenko was.
Yeah, I agree. And there is some players on there, and I think Hazard, that is a difficult one to leave out because I think he single-handedly won them that bloody Europa against us, didn't he? So yeah.
It's hard, though, isn't it? Who'd you leave out at that 11? You know, that front three. I can't leave Bergkamp out. So. Yeah, they really have. They really have. Super. All right, boys. We'll go with Cech in goal. We'll go with Ivanovic. We'll go with Campbell and Adams. We'll go with Ashley Cole. Vieira, Fabregas, and Lampard, and then Henry, Bergkamp, and Drogba. What a team! What a team that would be. Imagine if that was in the league. That would have won some titles, wouldn't it?
That wins some shit, right? It wouldn't be moaning, would we?
No, we wouldn't be, mate. We wouldn't be as depressed as we are now, boys. Matt, absolute pleasure again, mate. I don't wish you too much luck on Tuesday, but I wish you luck for the rest of the season, mate. I do think you'll get top 4 personally. I think you will get 4th place, and I hope you do if it's going to mean that Tottenham don't. So I'll be more than happy with that, mate.
we might see you in the cup. You got a Chelsea shirt on, by the way, Dan?
No, mate. No, it is Ralph Lauren, mate. It is Ralph Lauren. Cheers, though, mate. Thanks for coming back on, Matt. We'll speak to you soon, and we'll get you on here again soon, mate. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Scunny, top boy. Thanks for coming on, mate. Enjoy yourself when you go up there, mate, on Tuesday night. I will text you. Sorry, down. Sorry,
I'm coming way down, mate.
Yeah, you're coming way down. But enjoy it, mate. Get yourself hammered just in case it is a bit of a. You can either drown your sorrows or celebrate. Then, can't you?
Fall asleep on my own, mate. Yeah, that's my job.
That's it.
That's the way, mate. And Lee, also enjoy yourself. You're going Chelsea on Tuesday.
Yeah, going Chelsea. Yeah, be there.
Enjoy yourself, mate, and I shall speak to you very soon, and I'll see you tomorrow on the same old Arsenal anyway.
Okay, yep, see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, boys. Please join us tomorrow at 7 o'clock on the same old Arsenal. We will be back. Craig will be back with me and Lee and with Harry and with Graham, and we shall speak to you then, boys. Thank you very much for listening. Take care. Up the Arsenal.
Go on, you Gunners.